Welcome. In today's lesson, we're going to be discussing branding, which is another aspect of marketing where there's a good amount of what I like to call fluffery. And it's really not needed so much. There's some very simple things you can do to really kind of understand your branding and grow your branding. Really, the first thing I want you to think about when it comes to your branding is that it's an alive thing that evolves over time. A lot of companies, they kind of focus a lot on branding when first starting off or before they even launch a company. And, there's definitely a lot of stuff or a lot of data out there that you can use to sort of create your color schemes and the wording and your logos and whatnot. But that's something that you really won't know until you start actually selling products and growing your customer base and seeing what's effective with them and seeing the wording and seeing how they respond to your messages, right? Based off of that information, that's kind of what you use to grow your brand. So I'm going to look at a few examples here to help you out. So really, the first thing I would like you to do, if you've been running marketing for a while, which you definitely should before really being too concerned with your branding, is look at your most successful ads across all the marketing channels that you're doing. So if you're doing Facebook ads, pull up the top 3 or 5 ads that have driven the most sales. Remember, you'll hear me repeat this a lot. It's all about sales. It's all about the conversions, not traffic, not anything else. Okay, so which ads have actually driven the most sales for you? Top 5 on Facebook, direct mail, Google, wherever it might be, print advertising. Pull all those up. Look at all of them across the board. Okay. What wording has been the most successful for you? What's driven the most sales? Look at the top few across the board. What color scheme is used within those ads? These are things to consider. I'm not saying make that your branding color or your company slogan or anything like that, but these are things to take into account when you're developing your brand. So a few other things that we should look at here. Okay, customer demographics. Back to the good old customer demographics. So in this example, female, Santa Monica, iPhone users, and their top product that they're buying is a sleep aid. So what would that tell you? If we were considering color schemes, this is a sleep aid, but blue would be a potential, color. Beach related color schemes, beach related wording. Well, how do people talk when they're, living at the beach? It's different than the Midwest. It's different than, New York. It's this is just another sort of aspect to consider. Another part involving a little bit more research is the good old swipe file. Going back to the list of brands that are similar to yours, your direct competitors, or it's just the company top brands that are in your space, right? You do a little bit of research here where you pull these up again. Through, these are going to be different, across the board, but you're looking for some similarities, right? And that they might not always be there, definitely. But if you take another example, or if you looked at the fast food chains, you looked at Taco Bell, you looked at McDonald's, you looked at Burger King, you looked at El Pollo Loco, all across the board. I don't really eat fast food, so I don't know this businesses too well, but you're going to see some similarities there, right? There's going to be some similar color schemes, wording, logo design, whatnot. So no matter your business, this kind of research where you're looking at the top competitors in your space and seeing what they're doing, that's a pretty good tell. So you have your most successful ads that have driven most sales for you. You have your customer demographics, okay? Have those laid out. And then go through the top brands in your industry and take note. If there's a color scheme that's common throughout, that's something that should be written down, and then compare that. So if you have, our most successful ad, let's just say it's a Google display ad, and then we have direct mail advertisement that we're doing, and then we have a Facebook ad that we're doing. Okay, and that the same image is across the board. We're using the same image across the board, and that's driven most success. What's that image? That is something that you would definitely want to consider as part of your development. Google Ads. You're running a search campaign. What's the ad copy that you're using that's driving the most conversions to your website? What are the slugs there, right? So it's like we had, let's pull up swipe from there. Yeah, so this was Facebook ads. Yeah, this is Google right here. So let's just say time to get better sleep. Let's say that was a slogan. One of your direct mail marketing campaigns, and was also your most successful Facebook ad. Include that ad copy. That might be worth considering as a brand slogan, right? You're looking for kind of similarities across the board, or better sleep is here. Maybe that would be considered possible slogan. So what are the similarities across the board for your most successful ads? Similarities, if any, there might not be. Don't stress too much about really finding these and tracking these down. Again, it's your brand is an alive thing that evolves over time. So these are just, you're always going to be kind of looking at your swipe file and customer demographics and keeping an eye on your competitors. So this is just kind of one of the things that you keep in mind when you're doing that, right? So what are their slogans? What are they doing that could potentially be used to grow your brand? Yeah, so this is kind of a, if you're just if it's a brand new business and you don't have any branding and you don't have any sort of customers, this is just one thing. It's helpful, but brand archetypes. So essentially, it's mostly just category of similar words and similar like color schemes. But it's interesting, like starting off, if you don't have any sort of information to really come off of, it's worth considering for kind of as a starting point for your brand. The idea is that there's these different sort of archetypes for different personality structures, right? And brands use this kind of same structure that we would use for characters within their own brand. It's got some good stuff to it. It's something worth looking into. This website, iconicfox.com.au, brand archetypes. Take a look. It has it's probably the best site out there for breakdown of the different kind of archetypes there. So there's 12 total. Like there's the outlaw, which is like Marlboro Man. What is it like? Harley Davidson would be one. Would be maybe like UFC. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but yeah, okay, there you go. Virgin Records, yeah, brand archetype, I could see that. Harley Davidson, Diesel Jeans, okay, yeah, that's definitely falls under there. This gets a little deep into, I think it's kind of overthinking a lot of things, but when you, let's say your brand is similar to Harley Davidson or Virgin Records or Diesel Jeans, this might be worth considering a little bit more. So look at, the color scheme is probably the most helpful part of all this. But so what is the wording that, I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but, what is the wording that a rebel character would use? What is, James Dean? What sort of wording does Harley Davidson use within their ads? Look at Diesel ads. See what they're sort of doing. So if you fall within that same kind of category of brand, these are the brands that you'd want to look at and sort of get ideas from. Okay. So yeah, they have some ads that they've done. And yeah, Disney I would see it as a magician archetype. I don't know about Coca-Cola, but again, these are just things to consider. With any of this, it's like there is no straight answer with it, right? You're looking at customer demographics, your most successful ads, you're looking at your competitors' brands, and you're looking at the brand archetypes, right? And it goes back to that blending, which is one of the most valuable skills that you're going to develop in all of this is how can you bring it all together to have a successful marketing campaign, to really develop the look of your brand. But once you have that down, it makes all these efforts much easier, right? So if you need to create a new logo or an image for your logo or a successful ad, okay, it's looking at all these different channels, blending it together, right? So color schemes for magicians, okay, good. Yeah, it's like I don't know why they would consider FedEx a hero, but maybe they tell us. Again, the color scheme, branding strategy. So this is definitely worth a look. See what kind of brands they're doing. See where you might fall or where you might want to fall under, and then do a bit of research. You even just Google lover brand archetypes, and you'll get lists of different brands you can sort of look at and get ideas from, and again develop the gesture. Well, it's interesting. Really, I would say, if your company's been around for a little bit, or you've been doing some successful marketing campaigns, go to those first. This is just kind of an extra thing if you don't have that sort of data. But again, your most successful ads across all marketing channels. What are the top 3 to 5 ish? What colors were used? Is there any similarities across the board? What's the wording that's used? Any similarities? That would be useful for your brand slogan, color schemes for your brand, potential images to use within your brand. Look at your consumer demographics. Always consider your consumer demographics. And frame everything through the eyes of your customer, right? So, again, in our example, we're females in Santa Monica, and it's a sleep aid product, but a wave could be potentially a good image to use within the brand. It's just things worth considering. Then look at all the other major brands, which you're always going to kind of have an eye on throughout any of your marketing efforts. What are they doing? What's their brands? What's their color scheme? What's their wording? Any sort of similarities across the board? If I was looking at the top CBD companies that were selling sleep aids, and they all had a similar color scheme and similar wording, I mean that's definitely something to take a strong note of and consider using within your efforts. And then if that sort of data isn't really available, consumer data or customer data, consider brand archetypes kind of starting off. But I would suggest leaning more on your competitors and kind of seeing what they're doing and seeing how you can kind of use that to grow. But the brand archetype stuff is interesting stuff, so it's worth looking into. But yeah, it's that simple. There's not really, there's not a whole lot to the brand thing. It's a thing that it grows with your success of your business. I wanted to recommend a book when it comes to brand building in a way that it's done so that you're also growing your profits, right, and running a successful business. You're not so much wasting money on aspects of your branding that doesn't deliver profitable results. And I've read many books on branding, and there is just so much fluff out there, and kind of like woo-woo, a bit of nonsense when it comes to branding and building your brand. I wouldn't recommend the vast majority of them. So this is the one that I would recommend. And again, we have another Dan Candy book, The No BS Guide to Brand Building. Covers a lot of the same stuff that I said, how, keeping the focus on actual conversions and direct response, and using that information to build a profitable brand for yourself. So highly recommend. Again, all Dan Candy stuff is really good. The No BS Guide to Brand Building. Okay, that's all I got for today. See you in the next one.